Alright, so I'm going to show you how to thread the beads onto the yarn, which when we're knitting with beads like I'm going to show you today is what we need to do. There are other ways of knitting with beads, but to me this is the neatest and the easiest. So the beads that we have, you'll be able to see if you have them, these are Mill Hill pebble beads, and when you look at the hole in the bead, it's quite large, and I purposely stock these beads simply because if you're going to knit with them you really want to be able to get at least an 8 ply or DK weight yarn through the bead. So what I've then done, I've just got a small darning needle, and I've used the needle that's got the biggest eye but that will also fit through the holes in the beads. So that's the needle that I've chosen. Now we have to thread the yarn onto the needle. Now the easiest way to do this is to fold it tightly over where the eye of the needle is and then push the fold through the eye, and there you have it. And then it's simply a process of getting the beads on. You can do 2 or 3 at a time or 4 at a time, doesn't really matter. Then once you've got those on, you just simply slide them down the yarn. One. Of course, if you're knitting with hundreds of beads, this is going to take quite a long time, but in our case not so long. So once they're onto the yarn, we can just pull them right down out of our way so that we've got free yarn up here to knit with. And then you'll see in the next part of the video how to use these beads in your actual knitting. Okay, so here I'm onto the second side of the bag, and I'm up to a bead row now, and I'm going to show you how to slip a bead. Now we've got all of our beads already strung onto the yarn, and what we do is we just knit across to the place where it tells us to slip a bead. So in my case I have to knit 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now it's time for me to slip a bead. So what I do is I bring the yarn forward as if to purl, and then I slip a stitch purlwise. Then I pull my bead up to the work. So I pull it right up to the work, and what I do is I use my left hand to sort of push it very tightly onto the work, and then I pull the yarn round back in the knit position again, ready to knit my next stitch. Knit 1. Okay, next bead. Yarn forward, slip purlwise, move the bead right up to the work tightly, and then pull that yarn around back and hold it. Keep the tension on the yarn so that it doesn't let the bead slip back. Okay, another bead. Forward, slip purlwise, move the bead up to the work, hold it tightly in place, knit 1, another bead, forward, slip purlwise, slide the bead up, hold the tension, knit 1, and I've just got one more bead to do, forward, slip purlwise, move my bead up, hold it tight and pull the yarn back, and in my case knit to the end. 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. Okay, so there you can see that last row. We have the 5 beads that we placed looking pretty nice in our diamond shape. Okay, now I'll just turn around to purl back, and I'll just show you where you can potentially run into a problem if you're not careful when you're knitting. past where the bead is on the other side of the work. Okay, so I'm just going to purl to where the first bead is. Alright, so I'm up to where the first bead is. You can sort of see it there just on the other side. Now there is the potential for it to come to the back of the work if I'm not too careful. I could let it go to the back of the work like that and purl, which would obviously not be good. So you've just got to sort of make sure that it stays in the front as you put your needle into purl and then wrap the yarn around. Once you've actually purled the stitch, the bead will be set in its place on the other side of the work. So it's just to be careful as you're actually knitting the stitch, and you can use your left finger there if you like to sort of hold the bead in the front while you finish purling the stitch. Purl one. And then just one more. Just finish purling across. Then we'll have a look at the other side. Last one. So, there we go. After the next row of purl there, you can sort of see that it sets them in their place a little bit better. And there you have it. Fairly simple.